I'm going to be giving 3 points of rebuttals on the issue of payment, on the issue of the likelihood of debt, and on the issue of government responsibility to provide for citizens. Before I go on to give on 4 points of positive matter, first on the issue of alternatives that exist in status quo, on the essential nature of life, on moral limits, and on the perverse outcomes that are going to result out of this policy. So first, on the issue of payments that he comes to talk about how they are going to pay people to come and donate their sperms and their eggs and whatnot so that the state can rear children that will now be killed and for the purpose of saving other people's lives. Here's the problem with that. It creates a system of perverse incentives whereby children are no longer seen as children, are supposed to be raised by their parents to benefit society, to benefit their parents. Children are also like cattle, like goats, like chickens, that are going to be raised so that they can produce eggs or milk or meat or whatever, so that it can be used to benefit other people in society. It's a very big problem that we do not appreciate the objectification of children as tools, as utensils. We believe that children are essential nature, as citizens of the country who should be protected as well as everybody else in society. Now, secondly, he comes to tell you about how they are going to take care of these children and there's a high likelihood of them surviving. That's bullshit. As a matter of fact, the differences between adults and children mean that when you operate on an adult to the point where you want to extract their stem cells, then it is very likely that they're going to die. Here's the thing why this motion was not set in that kind of context. Because if it was a context whereby children would naturally still survive, then most people will not actually have a problem with it, because children will just extract, for instance, and then they will still continue to live as normal human beings. But the motion, the context of this motion is in a situation whereby the lives of these children are placed in high risk and they're likely to die, and that is why we do not agree with them that they're going to be able to make sure a high survival rate and whatnot. Even adults, in extraction of stem cells or any kind of surgical operation, still die. Not to talk about children, babies, and not just infants, babies. How likely is it then that they're going to die? We believe that's a very high probability that the state ought not to sanction. I'm going to be discussing that later. But thirdly, he comes to tell you about how the government has a responsibility to protect its citizens. Now that's a very illogical point, because these babies themselves are citizens of the country. So if you're going to kill the babies, put them in harm's way to protect other citizens, like how does that even make any sense to them? That's itself important. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Now, positive matter. First, I explain to you about how there are alternatives in the status quo. So it's not as if we have a situation whereby we have no other option but to put people's lives at risk. So in the status quo, we have alternatives that exist. We agree that they might not be as effective as we want them to be, but the fact that we have alternatives that people can use, save their lives and not die, and we do not believe that it's such an urgency that necessitates actually killing people, babies, or putting their lives in such high amount of risk so as to save the lives of other people. We believe that the mere fact that there are alternatives means that we should not lower the moral standards of our society to cater for any other kind of situation. Now, secondly, the essential nature of life. We believe that there is no difference between babies that are born out of artificial insemination and babies that are born out of natural copulation. We believe that as long as you are a child who has been born, who has consciousness, you are a moral agent who deserves to be protected as much as anybody else in society. Now, here's the problem with what they tell you. When they tell you that artificially inseminated babies are going to be given sperm by whatever and eggs and whatever, we believe that in as much as this baby has been born, this baby breathes, this baby can maybe cry or whatever, this baby has moral agency, this baby has potential to become whatever in life. This is not a fetus, it's a baby, and we believe that baby has every right as anybody else in that country, in this society. Because even the laws of the land protect somebody from the point where they are born, not from the point where you are 3 years old or 5 years old or whatever. We believe that in as much as the baby has been born, the person has the right to be protected by the state and not to be used as cattle, again, to save other people's lives in society. Now, first point here now, argumentative. On the issue of moral limits in our society, we believe what it amounts to is state-sanctioned murder on babies, mainly because they are babies who have just not been born by natural population, who have just been born by artificial insemination, that they can be killed to protect other people's lives. Now, we believe that there is no utilitarian value, because we believe this is the best case that could come from the entirety of government bench to come and tell you how the utility, how the life of babies are lesser and can be used to protect the lives of people who are more important, who can bring more benefit to society. We believe that in as much as one life is being taken in order to save another life, we believe there is no utilitarian value to this policy they bring. Now, even if they want to bring it, assuming that exists, they want to tell us about how these babies do not necessarily have as much potential as a Dangote or a Bill Gates or a Mark Zuckerberg in society. We believe that it's a slippery slope that our society ought not to go down. Because if we say babies merely because they are babies, their lives are more expendable, What then happens when we say rich people, because they are rich people, they control more resources, then their lives are more important than poor people in society? We go down the path that says we have some arbitrary mechanisms to determine how important you are to society, and if you are not so important based on that scale, we are going to be willing to kill you so as to be able to save the life of somebody else that we believe is more important. We believe that no society can exist without having strict moral standards to determine their actions. Now, on the issue of outcomes, we believe that it's going to lead to a degeneration of societal norms, as I explained just now. But we believe that it's a very important thing that we must understand here. Because this society, this is experimental medical technology that is going to be expensive, that is going to be only be able to be accessed by people who have more capital in society. So if you have a situation that says, if you have more money, then you can access this technology, but what will happen is that you have to kill somebody else in order to save your life. This means that people who are rich in society, people who have more access to capital, are going to be able to push for more reforms to these laws to make sure that they can push for things that will benefit them at the expense of people who do not have as much protection. As I mentioned earlier, assuming we allow this law to pass, what we are going down to is a situation where the rich people in society are going to be able to say, okay, here's the thing. Since we are fine with killing babies, do you have any POIs? Any POIs?
In the status quo, would you say that there is no success that has been recorded in the transplants that involves babies and even adult babies especially?
Yes, even if there has been success that has been recorded, it's very silly to say out of 1 in 100 cases, because there has been one success, to be not logical for us to put so many other babies at risk, so as based on the one off chance that it could possibly be a success where they will not die. And we believe that even if the chance is high, as they might want to come and argue, the fact that you are putting babies who had no choice in the matter, who were raised just because they could be extracted stuff from their body to save other people, negates that policy morally in and of itself. The fact that you are raising people just for the purpose of extracting stuff from their body makes your policy one that is immoral and unacceptable in a logical democratic society like we are in. So what we tell you is based on the inequality of access. It means that we're going to be entrenching inequality in our society, so poor people are not going to be able to access this. So any argument about the ordinary man on the street being able to save his life is bullshit. What it means is that the rich people in society are going to be able to entrench their inequality and make sure that they access this experimental technology at the expense of the poor people who are going to be paid to donate their sperms and their eggs, and at the expense of the babies who are going to be killed just because they want to save their rich people in society. So in today's debate, we've shown you how there are alternatives, we've shown you how essential the nature of life is, that there's no difference between artificially created babies and naturally born babies. We've shown you how moral limits will be upheld, and we've shown you how the outcomes are perverse, and we're very, very proud to oppose.